Thank you, Mr. Speaker. For the third time this session, the Transportation Committee has veered out of its lane into federal immigration policy rather than our remit of state transportation. Through each of these debates, I found myself struggling to understand the motivations, the reasoning behind the proposed policies. Our committee has been repeatedly informed that it is not xenophobia nor racism that drives these. Yet proponents also repeatedly acknowledge that these bills are not about the safety on our roads nor in our communities. Instead, what we hear each time is that these bills are about being fair. Now, growing up as a teenager, my mother often reminded me that life isn't fair, and I imagine she'd try to offer me the same advice today were I to lodge such a complaint. But I can't help myself. I continue to wonder, what is fair? The committee chair asked us during the executive session for this bill if it is, quote, fair for everyone in the state who follows the law and abides by the law for us to give people a privilege to drive, which is a pretty important privilege, before we know they're here legally, end quote. We are choosing with this bill to wholesale ignore that the federal government has already made that determination, that the affected residents can remain legally in the United States and indeed in New Hampshire, while their asylum claim awaits adjudication. It is indeed a bit like a game of Calvin ball, where the rules are made up as we go along, not to suit our fancy, not rooted in fact nor sound policy. We are very clearly choosing not to care whether they are here legally. We are declaring that they are not, and we are doing it in an abhorrent manner. No hearings, no appeals, just a blanket decision by this body that every single person with that pending asylum claim is a liar who broke the law. That is not fair. The federal government also determined that many of the residents that this bill, as amended, affects have the right to work in the United States. And for better or worse, holding down a job in New Hampshire means needing to drive a car. We are telling these people, the workers who contribute to our economy, our communities, and our tax base, far in excess of the services they consume, that they can no longer have a job here. To whom is that fair? Which of our constituents benefits from this policy? Certainly not the business owners losing their staff, certainly not the local shopkeepers who are losing their customers. It is not lost on me as we sit in this chamber, we hold the lives of our constituents in our hands. We are, in effect, playing a role of sort of a little g God. And I'm not a particularly religious person, although I grew up with a bit of that. And considering this bill, I found myself thinking back and pondering a particular verse, Deuteronomy chapter 24, verse 6. No man shall take the mill or upper millstone to pledge, for he takes a man's life to pledge. Extrapolated for the modern age, that it basically is saying that taking away someone's ability to work is the equivalent of taking that millstone away. We are choosing today whether to take away not just their ability to work and participate in our communities, but to live, thrive, and survive. And with no upside to the granite state. Our society is not a zero-sum game. These residents are not taking away anything from other granite staters simply by existing and driving in our state. Indeed, quite the opposite. They are active members of our communities and our workforce. They deserve all the same opportunities and protections each of us enjoy sitting here today. That is what it means to be fair. And so as we play God with their lives, let us choose to play the humble, compassionate, generous, welcoming, and even perhaps the economically sound version of that role, not the one that this bill represents. Mr. Speaker, I request a division vote.